Good afternoon, candidates. Please settle down as we will begin the convocation in 3 minutes. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this convocation for the October special elections for the vacant positions of the UP Law Student Government for the rest of the academic year 2022 to 2023. I am Patricia Gadia, your host for today. Before we begin, we have a very important announcement. We will be releasing a voters registration form which all UP Law students must fill up. The form is very important because the Halalan server can only be accessed through your UP mails. Please accomplish this form by October 17, Monday, 12 noon. If you have any questions, you may message us through the Elecom Facebook page. So for this convocation, the candidates will be given 2 minutes each to present their opening spiels. There will be a question and answer portion specific to the candidates based on the questions submitted online, and this is answerable for only 1 minute. Follow-up questions should be answered within 30 seconds. Candidates must also keep their Zoom video closed unless it is their turn to speak. Students may still submit your questions on the provided Google form, and the link is in the Elecom page and the Law Community Hub. And it is also being flashed on our screen right now. So that is tinyurl.com/convocqse22. So we will now begin with our opening spiels, and we would like to call on our first candidate, the candidate for the first year batch representative, Nathan Joseph Carpio.
Good day, UP Law. I hope you're all doing well on this Sunday afternoon. My name is Nate Carpio, the current block president of Diliman Day Block 1I. Today, I stand before you, running to be your first year batch representative. In my short time as a freshman in UP Law, I have seen the struggles of my batch. I have heard the stories from different blocks, and I have felt what every freshman has felt so far. If given the chance to be your first year batch representative, I want to serve our young batch across our UP campuses with this very simple platform. First, to resonate with the concerns and struggles of the batch, to coordinate closely with the proper parties, the LSG, and with all external stakeholders, to disseminate all relevant information and updates, and to rejuvenate the batch as a whole and bring new life to Diliman and Iloilo. With this in mind, let's live out Carpio Diem, seize the day, and together we can be great with Nate. Thank you, and good luck to the rest of the candidates.
So thank you, Mr. Carpio. So next, let us call on the candidate for the fourth year batch representative, Claire Ann Texon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Claire Ann Texon, but you may call me Klang, and I'm running for fourth year batch representative. Throughout my campaign, I've emphasized only one point, running it back. I was batch 2023's batch representative a year ago, and although not much has changed, I intend to give you consistent and reliable service. Kaya sana, chill klang ulit. You, urgency. Your concerns are tagged as urgent to me. I will be proactive in responding and assertive in seeking for solutions to your needs. L, lingaw. Lingaw means fun in Cebuano. People who know me know I can't have a day without sharing a joke. I intend to share this joy as we go through the struggles of law school together. We will call for more study hangouts, kamustahans, and chikahans throughout the year. I, involve. I aim for a more inclusive leadership. Before forwarding your concerns to the administration, I hope to be able to consult the consensus of the batch. Engage in conversations. Your feelings are heard. T for true. Sa mata ko pa lang, may kita mo na ang katotohanan because real eyes realize real lies. You will know relevant information as soon as possible. I will be true and transparent at all times. That said, I'm hoping that together, we can continue what we have started. Chill klang ulit. Claire Texon for fourth year batch representative.
So thank you, Ms. Texon. Next, let us call on the candidate running for the BGC Day representative, Paulo Jericho Manuel.
Good afternoon, Upelo, to all my co-candidates present and to everyone joining today's event. I am Paulo Jericho D. Manuel, and you may call me Jerry. I'm from 1 BGC Day 2, and I am running to serve as your next BGC Day representative. We're currently facing a transition period. From online classes, we are slowly transitioning into face-to-face, and we will soon be facing challenging times. So ang tanong, carry ba natin ito? Yan ay ating carry dahil nandito si Jerry. With my track record and experience in handling a transition period as the former president of the UST Art-Ed Student Council back in college, together with my enthusiasm and commitment to serve the BGC Day community, handang-handa na ako at excited na i-represent ang BGC Day sa LSG. I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity to hopefully serve the community that I call home. Tandaan na iboto si Jerry for initiatives that will jumpstart, elevate, resonate, and innovate. Tandaan, #carry ni Jerry. Thank you and a blessed Sunday to all.
So thank you, Mr. Manuel. Next, let us call on another candidate for BGC Day representative, Arthur Anthony Saulong.
Good afternoon. I'm Thor Saulong of 2 BGC Day 2, running to be your next BGC Day representative. I've seen the struggles that my batch and the BGC Day community as a whole has faced during the start of the face-to-face classes. It's been a grueling process of reintegration and adaptation to the new normal and to the situations of COVID-19. However, I've also felt anticipation and excitement that this new experience is going to bring. It's a time to finally meet our blockmates, to study in the BGC library, to be part of our growing community, and to return to a semblance of law school days of old. BGC Day, let's revive our team spirit and foster a BGC Day family that's first, holistically supported through responsive on-campus assistance, community-driven resource pools, and a whole lot more. Let's bring back events such as Inter-BGC and our Halloween party. Let's get to know each other through initiatives such as Spotlight, Humans of BGC, Fireside Talks with the BGC alumni, and a lot more. Let's provide holistic support for everyone by encouraging UP Law Orgs to set up tambayans on campus and encourage participation from BGC Day students. Let's help each other through food pools, shared order forms, student commissaries, and health and safety initiatives such as Shark Week support and emergency first aid kits. Let's finally bring back our ACA drives and Intel networks, other networking events with alumni firms and other BGC firms, internships, and other job opportunity talks. Well, what are you waiting for? I've got it all for you. Once again, I'm Arthur Thor Saulong, your next BGC Day representative. Thank you and have a happy Sunday to all.
Thank you, Mr. Saulong. Next, let us call on the candidate running for evening representative, Franz Vincent Legaspi.
So thank you, everyone. A pleasant day to my fellow evening law students. My name is Franz Legaspi, and I'm running to be your next evening representative to the LSG. So as we go back to face-to-face classes, it is important to make the students feel that their issues and concerns will be heard and represented. And this is how I can help. So my platform aims to help. HELP, help. So H stands for Help Desk for Evening Students. E stands for the Evening Wellness Programs. L stands for the Legacy Drive. And lastly, P stands for Preparing for the Face-to-Face. So based on my years working in the public service sector and in establishing an NGO, I learned that it is very important to listen to the needs of your constituents and to provide meaningful solutions. So also, I believe that any form of help goes a long way. So should you have any more questions or if you'd like to know more about my campaign or about my plans, feel free to visit my Facebook page for more details. So once again, I'm Franz Legaspi, Ivre Preti. Thank you, UP College of Law, and may we all have a Franz-tastic day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. Now let us call on our candidate for Public Relations Officer, Bianca Nicole Corrales.
Hi, I'm Anka, the block representative of 1 BGC Day 2, and I'm running for the position of LSG Public Relations Officer. My platforms for this year consist of 4 components. A for awareness, N for notification, C for community, and another A for advocacy. For awareness, I aim to guarantee that all important information will be disseminated properly and ensure that no student would be left behind in terms of their awareness of important issues. For notification, using the latest applications, I aim to communicate up-to-date activities, not just of the LSG, but also of the student organizations and their advocacies. I will amplify important things worth knowing by the entire UP community, helping these organizations reach a wider audience, especially non-members. C for community. It is important for us student leaders to make sure that no one is left behind, especially since our campuses are physically isolated from each other. This is also to create a sense of solidarity among the UP College of Law students. Finally, the last A, advocacy. As the focal point for communication in the UP College of Law, I will make the PRO's office the primary agency for coordinating all student advocacies at the UP College of Law, and by doing so, help student organizations as well as student advocates reach a wider audience. Sa ating pagtahak sa mga susunod na taon, ako ang kasama mo patungo sa pag-abot ng pangarap mong maging abogado. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corrales. Now let us call on the candidate running for External Vice President, Patrick Carriaga.
Hello, everyone. I am Patrick L. Carriaga from 3G Diliman, and I'm currently running to become your next External Vice President. My platform can be summarized with the acronym PAT, which stands for Partnerships, Activities, and Teamwork. As your next EVP, I want to serve the UP Law community by focusing on partnership and sponsorship opportunities to help with the execution of events that will surely increase in number with the new policy of reverting back to full face-to-face classes by next semester. Furthermore, we will also be actively pushing for the full return of the physical Courts of Law Sports Fest while still retaining certain events from e-courts. We will also be seeking active participation in the Conflicts of Law Interschool Sports Fest by using the Courts of Law as a baseline. Lastly, I hope to aid the various law organizations as well as your batch representatives in conducting their various independent events by providing possible partnership and sponsorship opportunities. Again, remember, PAT, Partnerships, Activities, and Teamwork. Thank you and have a good day, everyone.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Carriaga. And now let us call on our candidate for Internal Vice President, Jessica May Cañeca.
Alecom, it's always a pleasure working with you. My fellow candidates, good luck to us all. And UP Law, good afternoon. I am Jessica Cañeca, and I'm here today hoping to serve you all for the fourth and last time in the Law Student Government Central Board as your internal vice president. Above all things, I come bringing experience to this table. Familiarity that comes with the experience with the system, the procedures and processes, most importantly, familiarity with the body. This will play a huge part in the efficiency and quality of service that I plan to give you. I have experienced being in the Central Board pre-pandemic as a first-year batch representative. I started serving the body with little to actually no knowledge because as I have learned, the processes and some rules in the UP law is different from those in undergrad UP. But through the course of the year and with the guidance of my senior members, I was able to come through. I have also experienced being in the Central Board when the pandemic and lockdown struck, staying in a holdover capacity when the 2020 general elections had to be postponed. I have experienced a transition from the different processes, especially the difficulty of the registration period the first time it became fully online, sitting as second-year batch representative at the time. Very, very unprecedented times, uncharted waters, but we were able to find a way to push for measures upholding the rights and welfare of the student body. I have experienced heading the registration efforts of the LSG last year as the internal vice president, and now I hope to return to that position and hopefully offer peace of mind to the body, knowing that there will be someone there who is familiar with how things work. As I have experienced being guided by my seniors before, I wish to pay it forward by offering service with experience and familiarity, and of course, guidance to the new members of the Central Board should there be a need. For a Central Board that connects and builds, for an IVP just for you, I am Jessica Cañeca, here to once again serve as your internal vice president kasi kinaya noon, mas kakayan ngayon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cañeca. And finally, let us have our candidate for the position of president, Sean Paul Laguna.
Hello everyone, my name is Sean Paul Laguna, running to be your next LSG president. UP Law, tara na! First stop, tara na sa less haggard na UP Law. At top of my priorities is better student welfare. The LSG will exhaust all possible avenues to unburden students in terms of face-to-face transition, as well as in the registration process. Second, tara na, lumahok na. We will work towards stronger ties within the UP community. We will revive the volunteer corps program and bring back social activities like Diliman Meets BGC, Inter-Eve, and Courts of Law. Next, tara na sa mas maingay na LSG. The UP LSG is more than just a student council. The LSG commits to aim for a more socially responsive UP Law. And last but not the least, tara na, kasama ka. We want the LSG to have a meaningful partnership with the UP Law admin by assisting them in handling student concerns to unburden them and ultimately improve student welfare. Kaya syan ka pa, UP Law, tara na, sama-sama tayong tumugon sa hamon. With that, good afternoon everyone, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Laguna. So now that we have heard all our candidates, let us give them a chance to address the questions submitted by the UP Law community. To repeat the mechanics I said earlier, each candidate to whom the question is addressed to is given 1 minute to answer this, and they will have 30 seconds for any follow-up questions. So let us now begin with the questions. The first question is for all the candidates. So this question is, what concrete steps will you take to ensure that students will still be able to keep taking fully online classes if they so desire? So let us start with the candidate running for president, Mr. Laguna. Mr. Laguna, you are muted.
My personal stand is that online classes should be instated unless adequate facilities are provided and the students are ensured of clear protocols with regard to their health and safety. However, we must recognize that the professors have academic freedom to elect their choice of classes. What we would do is to ensure that the coordination with the UP Law admin to inventory of facilities that would enable to conduct the face-to-face classes. And should the admin do not provide these avenues, we should enable online classes and hybrid classes for those classes that cannot be accommodated in UP Law.
Thank you, Mr. Laguna. Let us now call on the candidate running for internal vice president, Ms. Cañeca. Ms. Cañeca. Okay. Ms. Cañeca got disconnected. Let us move to the next candidate for external vice president, Mr. Carriaga.
Hello, yes, thank you. So it is not really a mystery now that we have experienced some F2F classes that the classroom system really is inadequate, as mentioned by running president Sean. So really, what I think needs to be done is to have a face-to-face talk with the administration in order for them to actually give us and provide us answers as to how they are going to tackle this issue. So I believe a proposal for the retainment of online classes is they will be more receptible to this since they are also aware that the classroom situation is really not adequate for a full return to F classes, especially since the number of students that have entered UP Law recently have increased and the sizes of the blocks have also increased in number due to the smaller number of student population in each block. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cariaga. Candidate running for Public Relations Officer, Ms. Corrales.
Hello. For me, the decision should be left to the block students because they are the ones who should decide depending on their circumstances, especially those in the evening classes. So we should consult it with the UP admin. Every block should be allowed to decide for their own mode of learning depending on their circumstances. So we should be the campuses are all capable of face-to-face classes, and they are still also capable for online classes. So the LSG's role is to talk to the admin and communicate with the block presidents and the block and the students as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Corrales. So next, let's have the evening representative, the candidate running for evening representative, Mr. Legaspi.
Okay, so thank you very much. I agree with what my fellow candidates have said earlier. So I agree that we definitely have to have communication services and petitions. But in addition to that, to add to that, personally, my steps regarding these would be to consult and hear out the block presidents and try to approach this from a face-to-face basis and ask if it would be more convenient for them to hold online classes as opposed to physical. And then lastly, of course, is to continue the petitions, to proactively continue the petitions to the OCS and to the admin to furnish clear guidelines as soon as possible. So here, I think open dialogue services must be prioritized. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. The next candidate running for BGC Day representative, Mr. Manuel.
Yes, of course. Realistically, in law school, we go with the discretion of the professors in each class. But as BGC Day representative and part of the LSG, we can still push for the retention of the hybrid setup, especially in cases of intense COVID spikes. Whether a hybrid setup, an online class would be utilized for a particular session, it would have to depend on the consultation with all the stakeholders involved through inclusive dialogues with the entire UP Law community, the blocks and the professors through the LSG. So it is important that we empower all blocks, all of the stakeholders in ensuring a collaborative decision-making process, in ensuring that this kind of decision-making process is adopted, wherein the students and professors can have a workable and reasonable solution that is implemented.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Manuel. The next, the BGC Day representative, Mr. Saulong.
Thank you for that question. So first, I agree with the previous statements that we do need to consult, especially the block presidents and including the BDLs who do deal with these pros and who are at least the first conduit towards their policies. We need institutionalized policies, not just for absences due to COVID-19, but let's always remember that there are other more equally valid excuses that may necessitate students from being absent from face-to-face classes. While BGC does have an extensive capacity for full face-to-face, it's not, at least my personal principle, to leave any student behind. Hybrid setups have already been done in my block's face-to-face classes, and these do sort of institutionalize that no student left behind policy. So first, we have to talk to the professors and the OCS to coordinate not just COVID-19 excuses, but others as well. And second, increase capacities, not only from the administrative, but initiatives from the students in sharing their laptops to provide hybrid setups for their blockmates and all students. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Saulong. Let us now have the candidate for fourth year batch representative, Ms. Texon.
Hello. So before going into consultations regarding the conduct of online classes, we must first get to know the batch concern suggestions in general. And then we engage in consultations with our batchmates through the block representatives and the beadles. And we must be more assertive in setting meetings with the administration. In this meeting, we must project the concerns of the students and assert that a memorandum be issued addressed to the faculty and to the students for strict guidelines and for everyone's peace of mind. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Texon. And lastly, for this question, may we hear from the candidate for first year batch representative, Mr. Carpio?
Hi, thank you. So I agree with the previous candidates in saying that we have to take the considerations of both the professors and the students alike. As first year batch representative, I would be the person who would voice out the concerns on behalf of my batch. So in order to do this, I have to know what their concerns are to begin with. The concrete steps that I would take are to provide a sensing form for everyone in the batch. I will collect their concerns, whether it's regards to financial difficulties, living situations, transportation, anything that they have to voice out with regards to having face-to-face classes or online classes. Doing this, I can conduct a thematic analysis by collating similar concerns under different themes. And by doing this, I'll be able to voice out their concerns much easier to the administration, to the professors. And with this, hopefully, the consideration will be given for those who prefer to have online classes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carpio. So now let us move on to the next question. This question is for all candidates except first-year students. So the question is, why did you not run during the first run of the LSG elections? So let us start again with the candidate for president, Mr. Laguna.
Yes. Actually, naisip ko nga yun, no? I had my reservations. Kasi nga magta-transition tayo from fully online to face-to-face classes. Like everyone else, I had to reassess where I stand with work, ACADS, and other responsibilities. Pero ngayon, I'm confident to say that I'm fully committed to run and hopefully to serve the student body. I saw how the LSG struggled with less manpower than usual, and I'm a firm believer of the advantages of all hands on deck. Kaya naman, with my prior and current experience as block president, masasabi ko na mas handa ko to take a more active part in the LSG.
Thank you, Mr. Laguna. Candidate for external vice president, Mr. Caryaga.
Hello. So again, I somewhat the same as Sean. I too was also balancing on whether or not I would be able to handle with the upcoming transition of full face-to-face classes, as well as at the time there were some personal circumstances that prevented me from running. And due to these personal circumstances, I was really busy. However, right now they're already settled, and after some consultation, I saw that there was a void in the LSG, and I thought that at this time, if no one is there to help, why not now? So thank you.
Thank you. So Ms. Kanyeka, candidate for internal vice president. Is she back? There,
Hello, am I
okay.
coming in clear? I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Why did you know? I did not run during the first one of the LSG elections because I knew I needed time to rest and recuperate after being in service for 3 years straight. Because I don't know if you're familiar with the fact that when you run, you immediately start to work after taking the oath. And running consecutively in general elections means that there's literally no stop or rest for your work. Because especially during our reading breaks and the other breaks that we have, during those times, usually the LSG is very busy because a lot of concerns come in about like professors violating rules with regard to reading break or the upcoming exams when it's Christmas break. So there's really no rest, and I knew I needed to step down for a bit, and I wasn't planning on coming back, but I felt the need to come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kanyeka. For the candidate for evening representative, Mr. Legaspi.
Thank you for raising this question, Ms. Patricia. However, currently I am a freshman, so I am not covered by this. However, given the circumstances as stated by the earlier fellow candidates, I still believe that why I ran now, as early as now, is because I really saw that there is a need. There's a need to help the LSG. There needs to be more on hands on deck. So that's why I ran in order to help with my fellow evening students. So thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Legaspi.
It's okay. It's okay.
So let's call on the candidate for BGC Day representative, Mr. Saulong.
First, the circumstances between this special elections and the first elections are different. We haven't had yet our first face-to-face classes, and I haven't yet experienced the problems that would arise on campus. So I believe that now is the best time to run because we have experienced, albeit a little, of campus life, of the problems that do prevent BGC campus from being a place where we just go to school and take our face-to-face classes, from being a place that's supportive of us and our development, and a home for us BGC Day students. So that's the reason why I chose to run here, is because I wanted to first experience the problems and the opportunities that present itself during face-to-face classes. I know that during the first general election, this was still in the online setup, and now hopefully I'm more prepared and more acutely aware of the problems that happen on campus and are experienced by the BGC Day students. So that's the reason why I chose to run at these elections. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saulong. And last candidate to answer this question, Ms. Texon, fourth-year batch representative.
Okay, so the history of the people running for our batch's representatives has been very varied and rich. We had Jess and Brian when we were in first year, when we were in second year, Kiana, Cardenio, and I when we were in third year. And I was thinking that due to the strong spirit of volunteerism in our batch, someone would step up. And during the vacation, I was always willing to step up and help in any project. And since I had the opportunity, someone tapped me on the shoulder and asked me to run. So I was always willing to step up. And because of the experience I had in the past year, I know what the task of being a batch representative entails. And I knew that we had to have one person take it for the batch. So I had to represent the batch. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Texon. So now for the next question. This is directed to all candidates from the evening program. So the question is, how are you going to balance academic requirements, work, and your commitments in the LSG? So we can start with Mr. Laguna, candidate for president.
Para sa akin, yung pagtakbo sa LSG and yung ACAS and work, it's a matter of prioritization and organization, no? I've been a block president for 3 years and I've been working closely with the LSG for that 3 years. Yung pagbalanse ng priorities, mas importante yun for me. And I think for the past 3 years, I've been doing that well. And ako, ang perspective ko naman kasi, hindi lang naman ako yung nagtatrabaho sa LSG. Nandyan yung mga kasama natin na members of the CB and as well kaya natin nire-revive yung volunteer corps para ma-encourage natin yung mga students na sumali dun sa mga activities na ginagawa natin sa LSG. Dahil hindi to kaya ng isang tao lang o ng LSG lang, kailangan ng tulong ng buong student body.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Laguna. And Mr. Legaspi, candidate for evening representative.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I have to agree with what Sean Paul said. So again, for me, time management is key. It's very important. So please do have a plan and always stick to that. And of course, prioritization as well. So again, you must know your priorities. If you're going to do your academics first instead of social activities. So there are sacrifices talaga, but it's a matter of really showing how much you'd want to serve and how much you really want to be to serve your constituents. So also I'd like to add that in this case, I also have fantastic blockmates. They're very supportive and they're very helpful in delegating tasks and sharing the load in our academics. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. So our next question are for all affiliated candidates. The question is there. How can you ensure that you will not unduly favor your respective fraternities or sororities? So our affiliated candidates are, first, let's call on Mr. Legaspi again.
Okay, so yeah, I'm rarely affiliated with the Upsilon Sigma Phi. But for this concern, I'd like to assure everyone that again, I am a student first, and I was a student long before I was affiliated with the Upsilon Sigma Phi. And also, I believe that as an elected leader, you must always listen to the constituents, to the concerns of your constituents. And also, I'm banking, or rather, I'm based on my prior leadership experience and in my work in making an NGO, I always I learned that the needs and concerns of the constituents must always come first. So in this case, I'm hoping to apply this to the LSG, and in doing so, I hope that, well, to reassure you all, in doing my duties, let's have regular consultations, checkups with the students, and also maintain transparency and accountability in doing these duties. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. Can we call on Mr. Saulong, candidate for BGC Day?
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm affiliated with the UP Sigma fraternity, but a vote for me is not a vote for my fraternity. The position of BGC Day representative ensures that I represent the interests of the BGC Day community first and foremost. And at the end of the day, the work of the BGC Day representative revolves around addressing these concerns and problems that plague us on and off campus. So a vote for me doesn't automatically mean that I'll favor my fraternity, when in fact that we will represent all interests. There are also mechanisms inside the LSG right now regarding protection against these favors and these measures, and I assure you that these will not be a problem during my term, as it hasn't been a problem as for the previous BGC days. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saulong. And lastly, let us call on Mr. Carpio, candidate for first year batch representative.
Thank you. So for me, I'm affiliated with the Alpha Phi Beta fraternity. But as I'm running for this position, I envision an LSG that promotes and advocates safe spaces for the entire UP Law community, especially for my batchmates. And I also favor a community that doesn't favor any fraternity or sorority in particular. Rest assured, I can guarantee that my affiliation will not interfere nor stand in the way in with my position in the LSG, since I am running on behalf of the first year students, not on behalf of my fraternity. The LSG has always acted as a collegial body, and I will submit myself to what the collective decision of the entire LSG at any given moment. And I will not let the fraternity hold any sway in my mission to take care of my batchmates and represent them to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carpio. Now let us move on to the next question. And this question is directed to the candidate for president, Mr. Sean Laguna. So the question is, student council work is greatly different from org work. If elected, this is your first time to be part of a student council, and you are running for the highest position in the LSG. How do you plan to manage and lead the LSG without any prior council experience?
I have been a block president for 3 years now. I've been working closely with the LSG in addressing concerns for our block. I'm also acquainted with the processes within the UP as I work in UP. This knowledge, combined with my experience in leading organizations when I was in my undergraduate years, I feel that it makes me qualified for the position. Furthermore, kahit naman hindi pa ako tumatakbo sa LSG, uma-attend na rin ako ng mga LSG meetings, ng mga general assemblies. So alam ko na meron naman akong idea dun sa paano sila nagpapatakbo. So ayun, hindi na bago sa akin yung communicate with the LSG and dun sa pakikipag-usap sa mga LSG members.
Thank you for your answer, Mr. Laguna. So for our next question, let us yes, this is directed to the candidate for internal vice president, Ms. Kanyeka. Yes, so the question is,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. Why have you, sorry, I'll just read the question po. Why haven't you posted any of your platforms? And
Okay. So to answer this question, the past 2 weeks, I would say, I'm going to be honest with you and candid. The past 2 weeks have been the hardest, most stressful 2 weeks of my entire law school life. But I have 2 more days, 3 if you include today, to post my platforms. But I am very candid and I'm very open with regard to my passions and the direction of my candidacy. And that's really directed towards registration. And that was the main reason why I was running in the first place. So allow me the opportunity in the next coming days of while the campaign period is still up, to post specific plans of actions towards that goal. And I'm sorry if you felt that it was lacking on my part that I haven't posted earlier. Thank you.
yes, so thank you, Mr. Amit Kanyeka. So for our next question, that is directed to all our candidates again. Let's have a lighter question. So this question is, what do you consider a first state red flag? So let us call on the first year batch representative first. Candidate, sorry, for first year batch rep, Mr. Carpio.
Hi, thank you for this question. Well, I guess for me, what I consider a first date red flag would be whether my date is on her phone the entire time or not. Also, if she keeps talking about if she keeps talking about herself and doesn't allow time for the conversation to be an exchange, free flowing exchange, and is very self centered in that aspect, then I consider that a red flag because in beginning a relationship, I believe that both sides need to be able to learn to understand each other. And as first year batch representative, I want to understand my batchmates and I want them to understand me. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carpio. Now let's call on the candidate for fourth year batch representative, Ms. Texon.
Red flag for first date. When that person talks about his or her ex too much. Syempre, kailangan, I want to get to know you. I want to talk to you. Tell me more about yourself. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Texon. So next, let us call on the BGC candidate for BGC Day representative, Mr. Saulong.
First red flag. Honestly, grooming is the first thing that I look at. So if she knows how to carry herself well, if she's very composed and very confident, then I think that's a green flag. So the reverse of that would be a first date red flag. I also don't appreciate if she's spending too much time focused on someone else because time is very important to me. So time spent with that person should be meant for the purpose of getting to know each other. I really personally don't mind if you talk about yourself the whole time. I'd love to get to know more about you, but at least direct the energy towards me and getting to know who I am a bit and focusing on having just, a good time and keeping the good vibes going at the first date. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saulong. Let us now call on the candidate for BGC Day representative, Mr. Manuel.
Okay, for me, a first date red flag would be someone who constantly talks negatively about others on our first date. So personally, as a person, I'd rather dedicate time into improving myself, into working as a better person each and every single day. And that's also something that I'd like to see in someone during our first date. I don't want someone who spends her time constantly spreading gossip about other people as if that's the only thing in her life. So that would be my first date red flag.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Manuel. Now let us hear from the candidate for evening representative, Mr. Legaspi.
Okay, sige, thank you for this wonderful question. Same lang with Claire. So from my personal experience, yung laging pinag-uusapan yung ex, parang wala nang ibang bukang bibig. So medyo di lang medyo super red flag. And then also kapag minsan mag-order ng sobrang mahal and then gusto na ikaw ipagbayad, kahit yung usapan originally was hati kayo. So for me, those are major red flags in the first date. So thank you for that question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Legaspi. Let us hear from the candidate for Public Relations Officer, Ms. Corrales.
Hello, honestly, I really love the question. Pero in terms of sa date, ang pinakaayaw ko talaga is yung super intolerant na he's mentally not stable and he doesn't show respect to others, to women, to other people, to minorities, or if the date doesn't show respect to her mother. Kasi it just means na if he doesn't show respect to his mother and hindi niya rin kayang magbigay ng respeto sa akin and sa ibang tao. Also, communication. Communication is key to everything talaga. Kaya, ayun, yun lang. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for that answer, Ms. Corrales. So now let us hear from the candidate running for External Vice President, Mr. Carriaga.
Hello. So a red flag for me on a first date would really be if you come late to the first date. because for me, I really value my time and I also value your time. That's why I always try to arrive early or on time. And if you're late without a valid reason, it sort of gives me the message that you don't value my time as much as I value yours. So that's all.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Caryaga. Can we hear from the candidate for internal vice president, Ms. Kanyeka?
Okay, so I have two. First is I observe how they treat staff. So like if we're eating at a restaurant, how they respond to the waiters, the servers. And second, from experience, a first date red flag is when they call you by the wrong name. So um I went on a date where like somebody called me by the wrong name and it was so bad. But I'm a nice person and there were other people around and so I didn't want to like immediately end the date afterwards. So I let it like go on for another 30 minutes before I said I had to go there.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kanyeka. And lastly, let us hear from the candidate running for president, Mr. Laguna.
Eto ka na nga, mali yung mga red flag nyo. Dalawang things lang yan. One, pogi, cute, or maganda. Two, inad ka sa Telegram, tapos hindi ka inad sa Instagram. Ibig sabihin, kakabiting ka nun. So yun, I think it's a major red flag. No? Pag Telegram ka inad, tapos di ka inad sa Instagram.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Laguna. Ayun. So let us now go on to the next question. And this one is directed to the candidate for PRO, Ms. Bianca Corrales. So let me just read the question. Testimonials provide insight on your character and work ethic, but we have yet to hear about your platforms. What are your plans as PRO, and how can you convince us to vote for you?
Well, yes, I have presented my my platforms kanina during the during the introduction. So for me to convince you, aside from my platforms, well, I recognize the challenges that come with this position. But I am no one-woman team, and I have the support of trustworthy people behind me. If there's something that I am strong at, that is my ability to establish a sense of togetherness within the team. And that includes bringing the best out of people who work with me. I believe that what matters when we serve is the ability to encourage teamwork, which not only makes things easier, but also boosts our capabilities to accomplish things. In addition, I benefit from my 7-year experience in the film industry, where I managed a lot of people and where coordination, communication, and leadership were most vital. That experience became my dress rehearsal for much larger obstacles, including law school challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corrales. So for the next question, this is directed to our first year students who are running. The question is, given that you are all first year students, how can you ensure that you will be able to represent your respective constituents, which comprise of the entire UP Law or your entire campus? So let us hear from Mr. Legaspi first.
Okay. So hello, thank you for raising this concern as well. And actually, this is a question that I've been asked a lot as well in RTRs. Personally, that's why I crafted my specific plan of action of the Diliman Evening Grievance Desk, as well as open dialogue services. So in this case, even though I am a freshman currently, and there are problems that are specific to year levels in other blocks, I believe that through constant open communications and consultations with the block reps and any students and any who wish to have their concerns heard, the Diliman Evening Grievance Desk will always be open to hear your concerns. So in this case, I believe that having constant communications, constant open dialogue will be a great way to help each other regardless of our year and batch. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Legazpi. Can we hear from Ms. Corrales?
Hello? Well, about student awareness kasi. Well, I have the ability to hear from students na I am receptive of their concerns and I can be easily to get along with. So, I can communicate well and through my platforms, I can use those to connect everyone as a whole since we all have different campuses from Iloilo, PGC, Diliman with my platforms and we can connect with each other. So with that, I can be able to communicate. They can also be able to communicate and address their concerns, and we can give them to the admin and the who others in concern. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Corrales. Now can we hear from Mr. Manuel?
Father Furios once said that no matter how much you try to read about swimming, you will never learn how to swim unless you jump into the swimming pool. That is why being a first-year student is not an impediment in serving in the law student government. I believe that the LSG works together as a collegiate body, and its members, while they have defined roles within the LSG, does work that benefits and addresses concerns from all of the campuses. As your next PGC Day representative, I will be more than happy to take up the concerns of my constituents and even those from the other campuses. If there is anything that I can do to help them, I will also work hand in hand with the other representatives.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manuel. So now let us go to the next question. So, this is also directed to Mr. Manuel again. So the question is that there were reports of your alleged hostility towards the ADAPT team when they were trying to organize the freshies for block handling. Can you explain these incidents? If they were true, how can you ensure collaboration with the UP law community given these incidents?
So I would like to clarify and address the elephant in the room. What happened is an isolated incident wherein there is a misunderstanding between the parties involved because of number one, a lack of familiarity with one another, and number two, the speed in which everything happened. It was a misunderstanding between both sides, and it really saddens me that this has been perceived as hostility. I'm highly appreciative of what the sophomores have done to help us freshmen in our first few months in our law school journey. They've been there helping us, reaching out to us, and many more. So of course, I am very much open to collaborating and cooperating with the sophomores and the previous adapting for future activities. This isolated incident that resulted to a misunderstanding is a one-time thing that has never happened again and will never happen again. So I promise to work hand in hand and do better in communication. This is exactly why one of my platforms.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Manuel. So for the next question, this is directed to Ms. Kanyeka. Considering that you have already served in the LSG in the past 3 years and was even an internal vice president during the last LSG, why did you not run as LSG president this time?
Okay, thank you for that question. I would say the short answer is I simply do not want to be president. The longer explanation is because after working the past 3 years in the LSU, actually after working 2 years as batch representative, I realized that you are less connected as president compared to the other executive positions like the secretary, the IVP, etc. And honestly, that's a natural consequence of the hierarchy of positions, right? The execom and the reps, especially the reps, they're the ones who are really in touch with you, the body. They're the movers and shakers, I would say. Think of it this way. So they're the ones in touch with you. They bring in the information, the concern from the students, they bring it to the attention of the central board. And then you have your execom, the positions I enumerated earlier, who must ultimately decide on what actions to take.
Yeah, sorry, Miss Kanyaka, that your time has run out, but thank you for that, for your answer. Now let us go on to the next question. This is directed to candidates running for batch representative position. How will you realistically foster batch cooperation? So let us call on first the candidate for first year batch representative, Mr. Carpio.
Hi, thank you for your question. So to foster batch cooperation, I'm just gonna go back to my platform, which is to mainly to rejuvenate my batch and to coordinate with each and every one of the block presidents at as frequently as I can. In order to for the batch to be able to become one, become more united, I'm planning to have certain events that will happen outside of the law school that will bring the batch closer together, aside from reading cases together just in the commons or in the classroom. And at the same time, I hope that this will allow the batch to develop the chemistry needed to be able to get through the first year as strong as possible. Because we're not just classmates with each other. We also have to learn how to become friends with one another and support one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carpio. Can we call on the candidate for fourth year batch representative, Ms. Texon?
Yes, so as batch representative a year ago, I was able to widen my the people I know. I was able to get close with other blocks, not just with block H, but also with block D, B, A, C, E, I, you name it. And also I've been in contact with several individuals from evening and BGC. So I guess I want to know more batchmates as well. I want to involve and reach out to those returning from LOA since they're now part of our batch. I would also have more kamustahans, more interactions with the batchmates, and just be there for them 24/7. That's all.
So this question is actually also directed to the other representatives, other candidates running for representatives. So can we call on Mr. Saulong?
Hello. So batch cooperation first entails that you know who the other batches are and who the people you're dealing with. So first we have to translate that team spirit from online to in person, and it's about knowing, for example, what their birthdays are, for example, or what interests they have, and only then can you really realistically foster batch cooperation. So it starts with knowing who they are, what they need, what problems they have, and their thoughts on matters. And only then can we come together and form a shared collaborative solution for the problems that BGC Day Campus experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saulong. Can we call on Mr. Manuel?
Yes. So ang pangalan ng GC ng BGC Day, it's BGC Day Community. So let's actualize it. Let's turn it into an actual community, one that transcends batches and blocks. Kahit first year pa man, kahit second year pa man, kahit third year pa man, kahit fourth year pa man, dapat magkakakilala tayo. We resonate with one another. And by that, I don't only mean na dapat alam natin yung face, alam natin yung name ng isa't isa. No, hindi lang dapat alam natin kung sino yung gwapo o maganda sa ibang blocks. It's more than that. We must genuinely know one another. We must resonate with one another. Kasi di naman natin alam eh. Malay natin, we could be working together in the future even if we're from different blocks. So right now, habang nasa law school pa lang tayo, we should integrate with one another and resonate with one another.
Thank you, Mr. Manuel. And let us call on the candidate for evening representative, Mr. Legaspi.
Okay, so good afternoon. So I agree with what Nate and Thor said earlier. So important, very important, yung constant communications with the block reps and the block presidents. However, to add to that, aside from coordinating with the block reps, let's also work hand in hand. Let's also beseech yung ating campus organizations, yung ating college organizations. So for example, in the evening, let's foster good relations with the SJV, for example. So let's work hand in hand to develop match cooperation through these channels. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. So let us now move on to our next question, and this is directed to Mr. Laguna. So there is currently a block in UP Iloilo with only 4 students, which means that they are burdened with a heavier academic load. What will you do to address this issue?
Actually, nakakabahala to, no, na may ganito pala nangyayari sa UP Iloilo. But we will raise this with the UP Law admin that the current class size is not conducive for learning. Dapat mag-discuss din tayo ng potential solutions with UP Law admin kung paano sila matutulungan, like exploring yung option ng online classes held in Diliman or BGC na pwede nilang salihan. Pero ultimately, ang makakasolve lang ng problema na to if magkakaroon ng solid, clear na policy yung UP Law admin for minimum class size to ensure a conducive learning environment. So yun.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Laguna. So for our next question, this is directed to Mr. Patrick Carriaga. Your platform merely provides for the office of the EVP, but the truth of the situation is if you are elected based on the UP Law Students' Constitution, you will sit as the LSG's representative to the USC. What are your plans as a law representative to the USC?
Well, yes, as the EVP, I will be if I'm not mistaken, I will become the law representative to the USC, provided that there is no law representative. However, I really just want, as that holding that position, I would really just want to make sure that the needs and wants of the UP law community is heard during the meetings of the USC, as well as I think the biggest one, I think the biggest issue that is being handled by the USC really is the amendments to the Magna Carta of the students, of the UP Diliman students. So in all honesty, I'm not an undergrad of UP. However, I am aware of the basic background of the issue. So again, in line with the values and core principles of UP law, I will represent UP College Law to my best.
Thank you, Mr. Carriaga. So for our next question, another buffer question. So this is directed to all candidates. So the question is, ikaw mang-iiwan or ikaw ang iiwanan? So let us start with the candidate for first year batch representative, Mr. Carpio.
Thank you for that. Wow, ako na naman sa curveball na question. So, ikaw ang iiwan na ikaw ang iiwanan. I guess based on precedents, ako yung iniiwanan. Pero I can see it going both ways in the future. Pero up to now, there hasn't been an event where ako yung nangiiwan outright because is it bad na maging marupok? Hindi naman siguro, no? Yeah. Yun lang. Thank you.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Carpio. So let us hear from the candidate for fourth year batch representative, Ms. Texon.
Hello. So, mas gusto ko ako ang iiwanan. Kasi as much as possible, gusto kong lumalaban hanggang sa dulo. Gusto kong patunayan sa buong mundo na deserve ko ng pagmamahal na ito. At deserve mo rin ng pinaka magandang uri ng pagmamahal. And I just want for ang drama yun. I just want to be in a healthy relationship. Oh, that's all.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Ms. Texon. Let us now call the candidate for BGC Day representative, Mr. Saulong.
Mas gusto ko yung ako yung iiwanan. Because I like to leave nothing left unturned. I like to try everything as much as possible to, make the relationship work. It may be hard, of course. It hurts na iwanan ka, and obviously it feels very degrading to yourself that, oh, all my efforts are for nothing. But if you truly love the person and if you truly value who they are in your life, then you'll treat them leaving you as something that will impel you to do better and learn from your experiences and to hopefully do better next time. It's also about supporting the person to your fullest and really wanting what's best for them, not necessarily what's best for you. So, pag ako yung iniwanan, maybe there's better opportunities ahead. Thank you.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Saulong. Now let us hear from the candidate for the other candidate for BGC Day representative, Mr. Manuel.
Syempre sa gentleman, ako na lang yung iiwanan, ano. Mas gustuhin ko na lang that I'd be the one to bear the pain. Because of course, I understand that being a woman is already hard as it is, especially in this current time. Ang dami ng mga pagsusubok, ang dami ng discrimination na nararanasan ng mga women. So, kung ganito, kung papapiliin ako, kung siya yung masasaktan o ako yung masasaktan, hindi mas pipiliin ko na lang na ako yung masasaktan. Ako na lang yung iiwan. Yun na nga.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Manuel. So let us hear from the candidate for evening representative, Mr. Legaspi.
Okay, so I think I'll have to agree again with all those who answered before me. I think it's there's a reason why they're also answering the same. So for me, mas willing ako na ako yung iwan. Maybe because the reasons kung bakit kayo iniwan, siguro for them to find themselves or discover more about themselves. So in this case, we'll have to honor or we'll have to respect their decisions, and then at the end of the day, willing naman tayo dapat magpaubaya. Basta it's in order for them to have their best experiences in life. So thank you for that question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Legaspi. Now let us hear from the candidate for PRO, Ms. Corrales.
Honestly, guys, sanay na talaga akong maiwan. Martyr na akong martyr, pero I am no quitter. I love to an infinite extent, and guys, grabe talaga ako magmahal. At kaya ko rin kayong mahalin ng buong buo at lubusan. Kaya wag kayong mag-alala. Kaya pag binoto nyo ko, hindi ko kayo iiwan at pababayaan. Yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corrales. Now let us hear from the candidate for external vice president, Mr. Caryaga.
Yes, like most of the people, I think I would also just prefer na ako na lang yung iwanan kasi I think it's really hard na para kasing pag mangiiwan ka, it's like ikaw yung sumuko. So parang at least kung ikaw yung iniwanan, diba? You could say na you tried your best talaga and it's the other party who chose to give up. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Carriaga. Now let us hear from the candidate for internal vice president, Ms. Kanyeka.
When I was younger, like first relationships, ako iniiwan. And then later on, when I got older, I realized that when you enter into a relationship, kailangan panindigan mo na nag-commit ka dun sa relationship na yun. So you try your hardest to stay in that relationship and try to fix things. And so ako na lang iiwanan.
Thank you, Ms. Kanyeka. And lastly, let us hear from a candidate running for president, Mr. Laguna.
I think yung problema dito, no, yung tanong dito is kung may choice pa ba akong maiwan. Kasi sa experience ko, lagi na sanay na akong naiiwan no. Pero ang mapapromise ko lang siguro sa inyo, no, tara na, date tayo. Ay, mali. ang aking platform, no, is tara na, kasama ka. Kasama kayo sa mga plans and projects ng USC. So yun, kahit na naiiwan ako, tuloy lang tayo.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Laguna. So for moving on to our next question. So this is also directed to all our candidates. Have you read the proposed amendments to the UP Law Students' Constitution? And do you agree with these amendments? So let us start with the candidate for president, Mr. Laguna.
Yes, I have read the proposed amendments with the UP Law Students Constitution, no? And I do agree na need na talaga and it's overdue na magkaroon na ng genuine student representation yung UP Iloilo students facing na meron silang sariling concerns at merong part ng kanilang student body sa UP Iloilo na magdadala ng issues nila sa LSG. So yes, I have read the proposed amendments. Actually, I've attended one of the GAs na nag-discuss ng portions ng amendments. And I agree na yung policy na instituting Iloilo representatives must be passed already.
Thank you, Mr. Laguna. Can we hear from our candidate for internal vice president, Ms. Kanyeka?
Yes, I have read it and I agree and I am saddened na hindi natin siya na ratify agad kasi sana sa special elections na to meron na dapat tayong Iloilo representative. But aside from that, it's timely, especially given that we went through online classes. We went through that transition, and that affected a lot of things. And more than just adding to the composition of the central board, it has timely amendments to the other constitutional committee, constitutional organizations like the student tribunal. So sana as soon as possible we are able to ratify the amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kanyeka. Can we now hear from the candidate for external vice president, Mr. Carriaga?
Yes, no. So yes, I have read the proposed amendments. It mainly concerned really the representation, the inclusion of UP Iloilo, as well as the removal of some provisions regarding the budget of ELECOM, because from the old constitution, it said that the budget actually comes from the LSG, but in reality, it does not. So yes, when we already amended previously the old constitution to include BGC, representation for BGC. So I don't see any reason why to disagree with the inclusion of Iloilo, since, as we said, we are one UP law, and UP Iloilo is part of that one UP law system. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carriaga. Can we hear from the candidate for Public Relations Officer, Ms. Corrales?
Hello, yes, I have read the amendments and kaya kasama sa platform ko yung tungkol sa communication talaga dahil dun sa Iloilo. yun yung pinaka-concern ko since PRO is the one who handles the for communications. So, kailangan natin talagang i-unite to be one and to be a whole community. So, kailangan included talaga ang Iloilo. So, yes, sayang na hindi nakasama ang Iloilo para sa mga representative, pero we're here to support and not to forget Iloilo and to combine and join them with ours. So, thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Corrales. So let us hear from the candidate for evening representative, Mr. Legaspi.
Hello, so good afternoon. So yes, I've read the proposed amendments to the Constitution, and yes, I agree fully with these new amendments. So in particular, I really like the proposed amendment with regard to the Iloilo campus's representation. In fact, I've been in constant consultations with the Iloilo evening students with regard to this because I really feel that they should have more. They should have more presence and representation in the LSG. Other than that, I also like other provisions such as the gender neutrality, the use of more pronouns. I think that's very timely. Also for the considerations of the students with regard to moving the elections in law in consideration against the USC election. So I think that really shows consideration on the part for our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. Now let us hear from one of the candidates for BGC Day Rep, Mr. Manuel.
Yes, I have read the Constitution and the proposed amendments there too. So the amendments proposed by the CONCOM took into consideration the realities of the situation of the college at the time it was discussed and deliberated. And I believe that the proposed amendments, which included the representation of Iloilo into the LSG, is pursuant to our principles to represent everyone here in the law student government. With that said, I am hoping that this can be something that we can deliberate and discuss immediately this coming academic year, because these are really substantial revisions in the Constitution, or rather amendments to the Constitution.
Thank you, Mr. Manuel. Can we now hear from the other BGC Day, the candidate for BGC Day representative, Mr. Saulong?
Thank you for that question. I was actually part of the Constitutional Committee as one of the delegates, as was the current chairperson. And our thought process into amending the UP Law Students Constitution was first to institutionalize reforms that the Electoral Commission first wanted. We institutionalized the rulemaking powers of the Electoral Commission, as well as providing them more discretion in the conduct of elections. Second, we increased the representations on the LSG Central Board to include and further accommodate the growth of the Iloilo campus. Right now, they have one representative, but hopefully once they reach a threshold number of 100, they would in fact be represented by 2. There were also strengthening of provisions against non-representation in the case of Iloilo and BGC, should they choose to have their own composite councils. And we've also institutionalized the security of tenure for student tribunals. I have no questions towards the proposed amendments, but please do ratify these, as these are.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Saulong. Now let us hear from the candidate for fourth year batch rep, Ms. Texon.
Hello, yes, I agree with the proposed amendments to the UP Law Students Constitution. And I've also been part of the Central Board, the one which proposed to amend the said constitution to include the Iloilo campus and to allow them to have a representative. And also, I would like to highlight and emphasize the inclusion of um, other pronouns such as his or her, theirs, because I agree that representation is important and that as part of our platform, we highlight inclusivity. And so I am very grateful that the proposed amendments are here, but we should still ratify the same. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, let us hear from the candidate for first year batch representative, Mr. Carpio.
Hi, thank you for that question. So yes, I've read the Constitution and the proposed amendments there too. And I believe that the Constitutional Committee took into consideration the realities of the situation of the College of Law. At a given time, they decided to propose these amendments. I believe the inclusions, the gender inclusivity provisions are very important, especially as we are very quickly progressing, not just as students, as individuals, but as a college and a university. And this is something that we've already practiced in some of our classes. I believe in the small manner of changing our Zoom names to our pronouns, and acknowledging something like that is very small. It's a very small detail, but it's a very big in the larger scheme of things. And at the same time, Iloilo representation is something that is very much going to be important in the future. But until then, I hope to be proud to be able to represent the Iloilo First Day.
Yes, okay. So thank you to all of our candidates in answering that question. So let us move on to our next question. So this is again directed to everybody. If you do not win, what are your plans? So let us start with Mr. Laguna.
If I do not win, my plan is to continue to be block president, and I'll be continuing what I've been doing before. I will raise the concerns of my block. I will raise the concerns of my block to the LSG, and in any capacity that I can, I will help the LSG to implement the projects and to assert yung mga solutions that we have been proposing. So hindi naman mawawala. I mean, for me, regardless kung manalo ko hindi mawawala yung commitment ko to help the LSG and to help my block in raising these concerns.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Laguna. Can we hear from the candidate for Internal Vice President, Ms. Kanyeka?
Okay, hello. If I do not win, my priority with regard to like why I ran in the first place is to pressure the incumbents to what's the word? To have acting execom members. They do not have an acting IVP, an acting EVP. They do not have an acting PRO, and I feel like it contributed greatly to the less than stellar performance during the registration, at least for our batch. And when you don't have those people who are supposed to make the final decisions under the committees that are under them, then nothing's gonna move forward. And we need an LSG that can make those decisions fast because things are happening fast. There. Aside from that, I'll just keep doing what I've been doing, which is like resting and relaxing.
Thank you, Ms. Kanyeka. Can we call on Mr. Caryaga?
Yes, hello. So, well, if I do not win, then hopefully the incumbent LSG can have another round of volunteers or signups for a possible volunteer corp. So, at the same time, I can still help with possible externals committee work since, as was said earlier, we do not currently have an acting EVP or actually an elected EVP. So hopefully the number of events are still many and, the void that is these absent central board positions, I believe that I can help. I can still help the incumbent LSG and for them in executing any future events or plans that they may have.
Thank you, Mr. Cariaga. Can we call on Ms. Corrales?
Yes, if I do not win, tulad ng sinabi nilang lahat, tutuloy ko lang din kung anong nagawa ko na, anong nasimulan ko na. Well, I am the block representative of one BGC Day 2, and I go way beyond my role. Kasi even before classes, hindi lang naman yung ka-blocks ko, since hindi ko pa rin naman alam kung sino yung mga ka-block ko, tinutulungan ko na yung buong batch, yung BGC batch ko, in addressing their concerns. Sobrang active ako before, not because I want to gain something from it, pero it's just that it's the way I am. I serve people, I help people, and I'll continue helping people kahit wala akong posisyon. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corrales. Can we call on Mr. Legaspi?
Okay, so good afternoon again. So same with Anka. For me, even if I have a position, I'll continue serving in whatever way I can. So in that case, I still have block president duties. I also still continue to lobby for the creation and implementation of my volunteer corps revival program as included in my Help Legacy Drive platform. I'm also help in any organization, trust, or initiative such as the SJV for eating students, and also help the LSG and OCS in whatever tasks that they need help with, especially during the enrollment and enlistment period. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. Can we now hear from Mr. Manuel?
Okay, so ever since I was a second year college student, student council has always been a part of my life. So if I do not win in any position, then I will still continue being active in the LSG by supporting the officers and serving as a volunteer in their projects, yung volcore ng LSG kung tawagin. If may meeting ang LSG that is open to everyone, kailangan ng ideas from all of the constituents of the UP Law community, di sasama ako. This is the kind of life that brings me fulfillment. So of course, fully committed ako doon. May position man o wala. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manuel. Can we hear from Mr. Saulong?
Thank you for this question, and please let's take some time to consider the answers of the other candidates, because that speaks to the character of the candidates you have running for now. Everybody's shared that they'll still continue to serve in their own respective capacities, and I'll be no different. First, through coordinating with the professors on COVID policies and excused absences in my capacity as BDEL, I'll still continue to provide food and on-campus assistance for BGC Day students, because these are still pressing needs that need to be addressed, either as BGC Day rep or as just as me, as Torres Along, as part of Block BGC Day 2. I'll still continue to volunteer for initiatives that the LSG and other orgs do pass, as I've been continuing to do so since first year. And I think that brand of service hasn't really ever left me, whether it be in the position on the central board or not. And thank you for this question, because it puts into perspective, again, why we're doing this and why we're running. It's not for our benefit, but for the benefit of the UP Law community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saulong. Can we hear from Ms. Texon?
Hello. So, whether or not I gain the position, I have always been present sa college. Especially this one time during freshie, nung courts. As in, I had to play volleyball even though I didn't know how to play volleyball. Just so we could save the game, we could play the game. And I will continue to be part of the batch in volunteering. For example, for registration committee, I could, be tapped as head of the graduation committee. I'll be part of the LSG's Vol Corps. I will help the college in other ways possible, like be an active member of the BOC, the OPF, etc. I will make sure that I will make my batchmates feel like they're not going through these struggles alone. They have me, we have each other. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taxon. And lastly, can we hear from Mr. Carpio?
Hi. Thank you for that question. So similar with the previous candidates, I want to continue to serve in the best ways that I can. Just like Mr. Legaspi, Ms. Corrales, I'm also gonna continue becoming the block president of Diliman Day 1I. Um, with that, I'm still gonna have the platform to be able to communicate as much as possible with the other blocks, in order to coordinate with them with regards to concerns of my block as well as with their concerns with their blocks. And at the same time, I agree with what other candidates mentioned about joining the volunteer corps of the LSG in the future to be as active as I can, and as involved as I can, even if it's not going to be part of the central board. With that, I'm going to continue to put myself out there and try to be a voice in my batch that allows that everyone else can hear. So thank you.
So thank you to our candidates, and we are going on to our last question. So yes, another chummy question. So, would you rather be good-looking na mabaho or pangit na mabaho? So let us start with, let us hear from Mr. Laguna.
Alam mo, kahit na mabango ka, kung tsaka ka, walang papansin sa'yo. Pero yung mga taong pogi, tsaka magaganda, kahit na mabaho yan, kahit na may red flag yan, papatusin yan. So go tayo dun sa good looking na mabaho. Kasi pwede namang maligo. So yun, go na yan.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Laguna. Can we hear from Ms. Kanyeka?
I agree with Sean Paul. Given na, like, ngayon pa lang, hindi mo naman maaamoy kung mabaho ako eh. Di ba? Like, a lot of things are online, so it matters less. And yun nga, pwede ka naman maligo.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kanyeka. Can we hear from Mr. Karyaga?
Yes, I would also choose na maging good looking na mabaho kasi kung may date naman ako, mura lang naman magdala ng Vicks para sa kanya or something. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Karyaga. Can we hear from Miss Corrales?
Guys, kabaliktaran yung sagot ko. Okay lang maging pangit, basta hygienic. Hygiene speaks a lot about your character, guys. Kaya ako, okay lang. At least mabait ako. At least mabango ako. At least presentable ako. Yun nga lang, pangit. Pero, kahit pangit, di mo alam. Baka may magandang o kaya gwapo na magkagusto sa'yo. Di naman yung tungkol sa itsura, nasa ugali yon. Kaya yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corrales. Can we hear from Mr. Legaspi?
Okay, so ako I'll disagree here. So ako personally mas pipiliin ko pangit na mabango. Kasi inimagine ko lang kung may blockmates ako tapos face to face tapos ang baho mo, di na sila makakaaral na maayos, hindi sila makaka-receive, di ba? So kung bumagsak pa sila dahil sa akin and then ma-kick out sa college floor, di kasalanan ko yun, di ba? So for me, mas okay na yung pangit ka pero basta mabaho ka. So paubaya lang tayo ulit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. Can we hear from Mr. Manuel?
As for me, I'd rather be pangit na mabango kaysa maging good looking na mabaho. Siyempre mas pipiliin ko yun kasi kahit naman na pangit ka, pwede naman na maganda yung gupit mo. Pwede naman na kahit pangit ka, pwede naman na maganda yung ngiti mo. Pwede naman na maporma ka pa din kahit na pangit ka. So syempre mas pipiliin ko yung maging pangit na mabango. Tsaka na din yung pagiging good looking na mabaho. Yung tipong una magka-crush sila sa'yo, pero pag kinausap mo na sila, di ba, mareretol sila sa'yo. Pero pag pangit na mabango, at least, syempre nung una, parang okay lang, gano'n. Pero over time, malaman nila na mabango ka pala, ay shit, okay pala to. So syempre, mas pipiliin ko yung pangalawa.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manuel. Can we hear from Mr. Saulong?
Siyempre, yung pipiliin ko yung pangit na babango. One of my first red flags is yung cleanliness and hygiene. So, of course, importante na mabango tayo. It's about living with yourself. Because how can you live with yourself pag hindi mo nga matiis yung sarili mong amoy, di ba? At least, if pangit ka, pwede mong i-adjust na, okay, this is what I'm blessed with, this is what I'm given, and I'll make the most of what it is. I just have to live with myself na naliligo, na mabango, na, clean and presentable. So, I'd rather be pangit na bango versus good-looking na babaho.
Thank you, Mr. Saulong. Can we now hear from Ms. Texon?
Hello, makinig kayong lahat. Wow. Sabi nga nila, love is blind, but it has a nose. So, mas pipiliin ko yung pangit na mabango. Kasi nakakasanayan naman yung muka. At saka, kapag mahal ka talaga niyan, tatanggapin niya kahit ano pang itsura mo. Basta, nayayakap ka niya. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Texon. And finally, can we hear from Mr. Carpio?
Hi, thank you for this question. So I have to agree with the more recent candidates na mas okay maging pangit na mabango. Honestly, it's not even a question kasi parang yun na rin yung buhay halos ko everyday. Ano naman, I'm not the best looking, I'm not anywhere close to that, pero I try to carry myself. I try to have that confidence through the way that I carry my hygiene. And at the same time, yun nga, tama yung sinabi ni Miss Texon na love is blind. Yun nga, nakakasanayan nga din yung muka. And hindi pwede masana yung isang tao sa inyo kung hindi sila lumalapit sa inyo. So with that, I'd rather choose na pangit na mabango. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Carpio. So that is the end of our question and answer portion. And thank you to our candidates for all of your answers. So before we end our convocation, we will be giving the candidates another opportunity for their closing spells, and they will have 2 minutes to deliver this. So now let us call on our candidate for first-year batch representative, again, Mr. Nathan Joseph Carpio.
Okay, thank you again. So thank you very much to the Electoral Committee and to the UP Law Committee for your time this afternoon. So should you consider
Okay, I think we will just get back to Mr. Carpio because he
representative?
Okay, he's back.
The primary job of a freshman representative is to collect the concerns of the batch, to amplify our collective voices to the LSG, the admin, and to work together across campuses to generate solutions to these problems. If given a chance to be your first-year batch representative, I promise that I will be there to listen to each and every one of you, to attend to your concerns, and to understand the struggles of our batch, and to represent you to the best of my ability. To the freshmen of Malcolm and Iloilo, I hear our concerns each and every day. I talk to people from each block, and I understand what the struggles that you're going through in and out of the classroom. And I want to be able to understand these struggles even more. I feel our worry. I feel like I also feel that what you feel, that that this school year is gonna be probably the toughest year of our lives. But I want to assure you that I'm gonna be in the trenches with you every single day. I'm gonna be going through the same battles inside the classrooms of Malcolm and even in the Zoom rooms. And with that, I believe that our batch is in need of great representation. and I believe I can provide that. Someone who knows what each student in the batch is going through. That's the kind of person that deserves to be heard among the LSG and among the admin of the school. So I am with you in the classroom. I am with you in making digests in the commons, reading cases in full twice, in the good times and in the sleepless nights. I hope you can consider me to be the one to represent our batch, to lead us through these tough times as we move together towards our return to full F to F classes. Together, I believe we can make it. Together, we will seize the day. Carpio Diem. And together, we can be great with Nate. So once again, I am Nate Carpio, running to be your first year batch representative. Thank you and good luck to all.
Thank you, Mr. Carpio. Let us now hear from our next candidate, the candidate for fourth year batch representative, Ms. Claire Texon.
Hello, I'll make this short lang. I just want to thank Elecom for organizing this. And again, I'm Claire Ann P. Texon, running for fourth year batch representative. Sana batchmates, seniors, super seniors, sana chill lang ulit para sa serbisyong urgent, may lingaw, involved, and totoo. Ako nga pala yung pangit na mabango na di kay iwan. Claire Texon for fourth year batch representative. Ang batch rep nyo, klangan, maasahan.
Thank you, Ms. Texon. Let us now hear from the candidate running for BGC Day Representative, Mr. Paulo Jerico Manuel.
So first off, maraming salamat to the UP Elecom for this opportunity to share with you all my platform for the BGC Day community and to also expound on the relevant questions and concerns from our constituents. You have clarified some of the questions. So I hope that in our short time together, you've been able to get to know me better and the kind of service that I hope to bring to the BGC campus. If given the chance and the honor of being the next BGC Day representative, I am here to serve, ready and excited to answer the call to go above and beyond, with unwavering commitment to work hand in hand to bring you a BGC community that is progressive, united in one goal, one vision, and one purpose so we can move towards a healthy, responsive, and well-represented BGC campus. I am so excited to meet you all in person, and I pray we can have a chance to put the past behind us to work for the birth of a real BGC Day community. Kaya't sama-sama nating i-carry na harapin ang bawat hamon at pagsubok at i-jerry natin yan with initiatives and a brand of service that will jumpstart, elevate, resonate, and innovate for a BGC Day ready to take on the challenges of the future. Tandaan, #carry ni Jerry. Again, maraming salamat, Pupilo, and have a blessed Sunday to all.
Thank you, Mr. Manuel. Let us now have the other candidate running for BGC Day representative, Mr. Arthur Anthony Saulong.
Thank you first to UP Elecom for organizing this, and thank you to the BGC Day community for listening to my plans and programs on how we can revive our team spirit and foster holistic development through on-campus assistance and resource pools. This wouldn't be possible without your involvement and your volunteer spirit in looking towards making our campus more than just something we go to for face-to-face classes, but instead a home that we all stay in and enjoy our times in, and a campus that we know and love. So thank you again, and have a blessed Sunday to all. Don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Saulong. Let us now hear from the candidate running for evening representative, Mr. Legaspi.
Okay, so first of all, again, thank you to the Elecom for organizing this. And I also like to thank all the evening blocks who are all very warm and supportive to this campaign since the start of the campaign season. Also, I'd like to say thank you to all those who are watching now sa YouTube Live. So as we end, I recognize that we will surely face many more challenges as we return to the Malcolm Hall and to the Iloilo campus this coming semester. But I'm confident that these issues can be solved by helping each other. So let's ensure that our problems will be duly heard and represented, and this will be possible through the Help platform. So once again, help desk for evening students, the evening wellness programs, the legacy drive, and the preparing for the face-to-face programs. Again, let us all help each other. So my name is Franz Legaspi, Ivre Preli, and may we always have a fantastic day. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Legaspi. Let us now hear from our candidate for Public Relations Officer, Ms. Bianca Nicole Corrales.
Yes, hello, it's me again. So, muli, ako si Bianca Nicole Corrales, angka for short, ang martir niyong kaibigan na hindi kayo iiwan at pababayaan. I want you to be reminded of my platform, Angka. A for awareness, N for notification, C for community, and another A for advocacy. And as I always say, sa ating pagtahak sa mga susunod na taon, ako ang kasama mo patungo sa pag-abot ng pangarap mong maging abogado. Again, I am Angka Corrales, the block representative of 1BGC Day 2, running for LSG Public Relations Officer. Ako ang kasama mo sa biyaheng law. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Corrales. Now let us hear from the candidate running for External Vice President, Mr. Patrick Carriaga.
Hello again. Thank you to the ELECOM for organizing this event and the UP Law community for watching this live stream to hear us communicate our plans and answers to address your concerns. So again, the main role of the external vice president is really to be the first point of contact with other law schools and external organizations. This is why, as your next EVP, I promise to actively focus on collaborating with other law schools for opportunities for us to enhance and showcase our knowledge and skills, and to foster a harmonious relationship with certain communities outside of UP Law. Also, we will seek sponsorship opportunities in order to help the UP Law community in making sure that the events and services we have planned for you are the best that we can possibly offer. Again, I am Patrick Alcariaga, running to become your next external vice president. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carriaga. Now let us have our candidate for Internal Vice President, Ms. Jessica May Cañeca.
Thank you, Elecom, for this. Allow me to address my fellow candidates for this one moment and the incumbent na rin. I'm going to be very honest with you. Working in the LSG, in the Central Board, is not a joke. It is service born purely out of the willingness to serve the student body. You're here for the service of UP Law. The past 4 months that I have not been in the LSG Central Board was honestly, it was good because I was able to rest and recover. But it was also in this last 4 months that I truly experienced what I, as a student, wanted and needed from my LSG. And what I wanted was to be connected to the ones who handled my concerns. I wanted to feel like they understood what exactly I needed. I wanted to build and establish habits that would ensure that after anyone's term in the Central Board, their successors are equipped with the knowledge and information that would greatly help them in the navigation of their duties. Because the Central Board are people we should feel like we can rely on. Again, I am Jessica Cañeca, and I would like to once again serve you as your internal vice president for a Central Board that connects and builds. Thank you, everyone, and have a great Sunday.
Thank you, Ms. Cañeca. And lastly, let us have our candidate for president, Mr. Sean Paul Laguna.
Thank you to the UP Elecom, and thank you to the UP Law community who is listening today. The return to face-to-face classes presents several challenges, and that this is happening under very unsettling political and social times only makes the transition more difficult. The UP law community needs a president who understands these issues and is ready to present solutions. Kaya naman, tara na sa less haggard na UP law. Tara na, lumahok na. Tara na sa mas maingay na LSG and tara na, kasama ka. There are still a few days left in this campaign season and I'm looking forward to meeting the UP law community and listening to your concerns. Once again, I'm Sean Paul Laguna, your next LSG president. Kaya Sean ka pa, UP law, tara na. Sama-sama tayong tumugon sa hamon.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Laguna. And thank you to all of our candidates, and thank you to everyone who has joined us here today. If you were not able to catch the start of the program, this convocation will still be available on our YouTube channel. This is just a reminder for the candidates that the campaign ban will start on Wednesday, October 19. So I will now call on the current chairperson of the ELECOM to deliver more information about the upcoming elections. So I would like to call on Ms. Ariel.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Air, current chairperson of the ELECOM. We just wanted to thank you all again for coming and joining us today, especially to our candidates and the viewers. To the electorate, please make sure to cast your votes during the election proper, which will be held on October 20, and that's a Thursday. It will be the same process we had for the previous online election, so you just have to go to halalanupd.edu.ph and sign in using your UP emails. Again, as we reminded in the start of this convocation, please do not forget to fill out the voters registration form, especially for those who do not have their UP emails yet. We just posted this and we'll post the link again in the chat box and our Facebook page. And we will also have our physical precincts in the Ambion room at Diliman and the student lounge at BGC on the same date. So for any grievances, you may proceed to the said precincts or submit them through the tech complaint form we will be releasing later on. So with that, we end our convocation for the special elections for the law student government for academic year 2022 to 2023. Thank you very much.